Welcome to the Women's Connection. I'm BarrieSwitzen, your moderator. The Women's Connection is a program about events shaping women's lives and helping one gain authentic power on a personal or professional level. So won't you stay tuned? Welcome to my show, The Women's Connection. I'm BarrieSwitzen. The Women's Connection is a program about events shaping women's lives. And my guest today is Aliza Sherman. Aliza, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't we start with a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into what you're doing presently.
Well, my background is rather eclectic. I never graduated from college, but went to college, 3 different colleges for 4 years. Had no computer training at all until I left college and was a secretary. And then had a series of other jobs, one in the music business, then one as an executive director to a nonprofit organization, and then I started my own business.
Now, what was the catalyst that started your own business?
Well, I had all kinds of fears about starting my business, but then I experienced something that was rather fearful in itself.
And
A friend of mine and I were held up at gunpoint.
That's fearful.
And kidnapped.
Oh, that's even better.
And taken to the bank, and they were trying to get us to take money out. Luckily, I had the presence of mind to basically negotiate our way out of it, and we managed to escape.
Whoa. Did this happen in New York?
It happened in New York City, Upper West Side.
Oh, that's always nice.
And we luckily caught them 6 days later. We went to trial. They're all in jail, thank goodness. But that really made me question my life.
My God.
Well, I really thought about what was I trying to do with my own life?
Right.
What was I doing in my job and career? How was I spending my time? I fled New York City. I went to Santa Fe, New Mexico, of all places.
That's a great place to recoup.
It really was. I ended up working on a book and then discovered the World Wide Web.
Ah.
Of all places, Santa Fe, New Mexico, the web.
And how long ago was this?
This was a little over 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 1994. Nobody understood what the web was at that time. Nobody even cared, but I was fascinated. I'd always wanted to be a writer, and here I had the opportunity to publish myself. So I said, I'm going to create websites, and I returned to New York City with a mission.
And what exactly is this mission?
Well, the mission overall for my company, for everything I create, is really to empower women, encourage women to get online, to use technology in their lives, and just not to be afraid to just advance their own careers and take charge of their lives.
Well, let's talk about women in technology. Are a lot of women on the web?
I think a lot of women now are thinking about it or getting online more so than 2 years ago. 2 years ago they said 10% of the online population was female. Today they're saying it's 36%. So in just 2 years it's pretty much tripled.
That's fabulous.
It's really great. And everything I do is to try to encourage women to get online.
Well, I agree with you. Well, it took me a while because I didn't like the pricing structure. But I think it's a fabulous place. Now, what is your website called?
Well, my main website is the Cybergirl Web Station.
Uh-huh.
It consists of several sites for women.
Which are?
The Cybergirl site, she's your guide to going online. She tells you where to go, what to do, how to do it. There's the WebGirl site, which is a networking site for women who are interested in the internet. And there's Femina, which is like our Yahoo for women. It tells you how to find things just by typing in a word. It'll find them for you.
Oh, I like that. Now, how did you devise all these different sites?
It mostly came out of the need for me to figure out where things are, or my seeing that there wasn't the things that I would want to see online. So I said, well, if nobody's made them yet, I might as well do it. And nobody took the initiative, so I said, fine, let me create all these sites.
Now, how do you make money doing all this?
Well, at first I was making money just consulting people, teaching them how to go online, and then I began to make money building websites for people or doing marketing for their companies online. And now, because our sites are so popular, because Cybergirl is so popular, we can sell advertising space. People want to advertise on our sites.
And you have a nice marketing niche.
We absolutely do. We've got a highly targeted audience, women 18 to 45. It's prime advertising target.
Now, how do you think web TV is going to affect this?
I think web TV is a really fascinating product because it's going to bring people online who never thought of buying a computer. People will buy them for their homes far sooner than buying a computer. It's a lot cheaper. And I'm finding already a lot of women are coming onto my site from their web TV product.
Ah, I didn't realize it was really out in the marketplace that soon.
It's out in the marketplace, and I'm finding that women and also young girls are enjoying using it.
Now, when you say women, what age bracket are the web TV users?
I think a lot of them tend to skew a little bit younger.
Uh-huh.
So
That's surprising.
I'm finding that all of my teen visitors and my early 20s visitors are coming through on web TV now.
Probably because their parents won't buy them a computer.
Right.
So it kills two birds with one stone.
Yes, and it's very easy to use.
Now, what about the other end of the spectrum? What about the senior citizens or the baby boomers or the mature audience? I don't know what you want to call it, because I hate baby boomers and I'm not sure what to call it.
Well, I absolutely do get visitors in their 50s and 60s and 70s, and the traffic I get on my site is 87% female. So I just recently got an email from a woman who's 79 years old, and she's a grandmother, and she's visiting the site saying she loves it for herself, and she's going to show her daughter and her granddaughters. So they're out there, they're online, and I think senior citizens especially have a lot of time on their hand,
Right.
a lot of disposable income, and people are now trying to gear the internet to them as well. But there's a long way before everyone's going to be online.
Do you think everybody will be online?
Well, does everyone have a television? No, but a lot of people do. I really think with the combination of the TV and the computer, we're all going to somehow have something in our homes within the next 10 years that will really be essentially the internet, the new version.
New version. Well, let's talk about the next new version. What do you think that's going to be?
You know, it's so hard to predict because everything they think it's going to be, then it ends up not being. They said it was interactive television, but that's never happened. But I really do think that eventually, whatever the TV/computer/telephone is, combine it all together, and that is going to be something that we'll have, some sort of utensil or appliance that we'll have.
Let me just go back a minute. How do you define the difference between the World Wide Web and the Internet? Is there a difference? Or how would you define them?
Well, the internet is just a loose network of computers around the world that are connected because they speak the same language, they speak the same protocol, if you will. So when your computer connects to the internet through your phone line, your computers are talking to each other. Now, the web is essentially a part of the internet. So the web is basically contained within the internet. It's just a different way that the information is served up to you. So there's many different computers and many different databases on the internet. And the web is the one that's multimedia.
Oh, with all the bugles and whistles?
Bells and whistles and pictures and animation, yes.
Well, how does one keep up with all this information? I mean, how do you know what to buy? I mean, well, let's just stop with what periodicals do you read to keep up with all this information?
It's very hard to keep up with information as it changes so quickly. I subscribe to so many publications, everything from NetGuide to Wired. I receive emails that are sort of email updates about what's happening in technology. I visit websites that have the headline news for technology. Yahoo has a service called My Yahoo, and you can personalize the news according to the topic you want. So to me, it's easier if I just get only the articles on the subject I need.
Please stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Every day, 10 children are killed by gunfire. It's time we said enough is enough. Find out what you can do. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT. Not one more lost life, not one more grieving family, not one more.
Welcome back. I'm BarrieSwitzen, and my show is The Woman's Connection, and my guest is Aliza Sherman. Aliza, I have a question about the internet. The show is called The Woman's Connection. I went online, and I didn't get my domain name. So apparently there's somebody that has The Woman's Connection, spelled a little different, The Woman's Connection Network. All right. Now, what would you give me as a suggestion to do, since I can't get my own domain name? And what is a real domain name? Let's start with that.
Well, a domain name is the name that's reserved, that you can reserve with a company called the Internet.
Okay.
And this name is your address, your web address. Now, a lot of web addresses are very, very long, and they're just the designation, so when somebody's looking for you, they know how to find you. Now, you can customize this almost like a vanity license plate by making it very similar to your business or your personal name, And that's a domain name that people want to have, because then people will think of your company and then know how to find you quickly and easily. Now, if somebody has a name similar to yours, a domain name similar, then you can always try to get your exact domain name or a variation of your domain name, something that's logical to you and your viewers. Bar that, unless you have the name trademarked, then you really don't have any recourse. Other people can take these names, because these names are not trademarks and these names are not copyrights. But if you can show they're infringing on your trademark, then you can go to the internet and complain. They actually look for a trademark registered with the Patent and Trademark Office. So the internet is very picky, and they usually don't like to get involved unless you have the actual registered trademark.
Okay, so I have to come up with another name to let everybody know that I've got my own web page.
Absolutely. It could be an abbreviation like Women's Connect, or something shorter, which still makes a lot of sense.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that, because I hate losing my Women's Connection.
So womenconnect.com would be a perfect domain name.
Great.
Now hurry up and reserve it before someone else does. You need to get that.
Now, tell us a little bit more about CyberGirl. You brought your logo something?
This is the CyberGirl t-shirt, the official CyberGirl t-shirt right now.
I love it. Get online.
CyberGirl says get online. That is definitely our slogan.
Mm-hmm.
And she is just supposed to be me. I was doing a little self-portrait. When I first put up my website, I did not want to put a photograph of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the cartoon character instead, and people really enjoyed it. They really liked her. They felt like she was a real person. They started emailing CyberGirl and wanting to talk to her. So she's really represented women online. She's a superhero.
Oh, that's great. Well, she looks like Superman, Superwoman.
with her hot pink cape.
Now, what is the media's reaction to this?
The media has been extremely positive and very supportive of everything that we've done. I think the media likes to hear, thank goodness, likes to hear about positive stories and about what women are doing online. And one story leads to another. They're always asking me about women online, about girls online, gender issues in general, and technology. So they've been very, very supportive.
Women are becoming more aware of the internet and realizing what an important part it can play in their lives, as you demonstrated with all your different sites and your hit, as they call them, hits. I don't know why.
Visits.
Visits. Oh,
hits is the wrong word.
Oh, sorry.
It's visits.
Okay.
That you really, there's a lot of interest here. And the more interest that we can stimulate in the real world, as they say, the better, because ultimately all women are not online. Most women are not online. Most people aren't. So we've got to get to people through the regular press and media, so the places that they're used to, and then encourage them to go online for things that are valuable to them.
Now, what is a way to encourage women to get over some of these, their hesitancy to get online, besides the fact they don't have a computer? Because I know you can go down to the public library here in New York and get online. They'll even teach you that, which I thought was absolutely fabulous with the new library. It's on, where is it?
The
34th and Madison. And I think it's fabulous. You can just get online there, and it doesn't cost you anything. So what are other ways that women can become more savvy?
Well, I think the first thing is to dispel the myths, what I call the 5 myths that keep women offline. The first myth is it's too hard. Well, the hardest thing about it is typing. And most of us as women, unfortunately, were taught to type because we needed a skill to fall back on.
Right.
So that aside, everything else is basically reading and writing. It's too expensive is another fear. Well, it's not ever going to be more than your cable bill, and most people have cable television now. And a bill for $20 or $30 a month, it's really not going to be that bad. And again, you said there's free access at public libraries, at schools, and there's even very inexpensive access at cafes now and internet centers. So that's always a great alternative. Now, another fear is that it's too dangerous. I've heard all these things about stalking and
Well, I was going to ask you about
the dangers.
The dangers of the dating situation.
Well, I mean, ultimately, think of the internet as a big city. And as New Yorkers, we know you walk down the street a certain way, you don't speak to strangers out of turn, you don't go up to a total stranger and give them your phone number.